This video took me a whole month to make. It's 12 minutes long, and it's all about the science of sleep and why staying up late is terrible for you. Funny enough, this is the perfect video to watch when you're pulling an all-nighter. Want to take the challenge? Will you actually go to sleep right after watching this? We sleep every single day, but have you ever wondered why? Sleep is one of those mysterious things. Even though I've slept over 1,000 times in my life, and you probably slept at least 5,000 times, we still don't really understand it. It's one of biology's biggest unsolved mysteries. Even Nobel Prize winner Francis Crick, the guy who discovered DNA's double helix structure, and Sigmund Freud tried to crack the code of sleep, but neither succeeded. Today I want to talk about sleep, not to solve the mystery, but just to share what I've learned. I'll break this down into 2 videos where we'll explore the science behind sleep, why it's so important, and finally some practical tips to sleep better. Let's get started. First, what exactly is sleep? Why do we get tired, and why do we wake up? The key lies in our circadian rhythm. That's your body's internal clock. Your body constantly builds up sleep pressure. The longer you're awake, the more pressure builds until you feel sleepy. But here's the thing. Your internal clock isn't exactly 24 hours. Back in 1938, Professor Nathaniel Kleitman from University of Chicago and his assistant Bruce Richardson conducted this crazy experiment where they basically turned themselves into lab rats. They packed 6 weeks' worth of food and water, some medical beds, and set up camp in Kentucky's Mammoth Cave, one of the deepest caves on Earth. They even put water buckets under each bed leg to keep bugs from crawling up. Creepy, right? What they discovered was that in complete darkness, the body naturally falls into a rhythm of 15 hours awake, followed by 9 hours asleep. And this rhythm changes with age. For 20-year-olds it's about 26-28 hours. For 40-year-olds it's closer to 24 hours. And the average adult's rhythm is about 24 hours and 15 minutes. When there's daylight, our bodies sync up with nature's schedule. But here's where things get interesting. Not everyone's rhythm is the same. About 30% of people are night owls, 40% are early birds, and the remaining 30% are somewhere in between. I'm definitely a night owl. I struggle to fall asleep and dread mornings. Society definitely favors early risers, though night owls often get labeled as lazy. We can't fall asleep easily, but we also can't sleep in until noon, so we're stuck in this exhausting cycle. Lack of sleep leads to depression, anxiety, irritability, and can even shorten your lifespan. But how can night owls improve their sleep quality? Hold that thought. We'll come back to it in part 3. Now let's talk about what happens when we sleep. The modern understanding of sleep really began on a December night in 1951, when Eugene Aserinsky at University of Chicago hooked his 8-year-old son up to a brainwave machine. About 90 minutes into sleep, the monitor suddenly went crazy. His son was fast asleep, but his eyes were darting back and forth under his eyelids. This is how REM, rapid eye movement, sleep was discovered. Later, Kleitman, yes, the same cave guy, confirmed this discovery using his own infant daughter. Gotta say, family members of scientists really contribute a lot to research. They prove that human sleep cycles between 2 completely different states. Non-REM sleep, where your brain prunes away unnecessary memories, and REM sleep, where it strengthens important memories. Here's why this matters. In the first half of the night, you get more non-REM sleep, while the second half has more REM sleep. Think of it like sculpting. First you remove large chunks of excess material, that's non-REM. Then you refine the details, that's REM. If you only get 6 hours of sleep instead of 8, you might think you're only losing 25% of your sleep, but actually you're missing 60 to 90% of your crucial REM sleep. Both types of sleep serve different, but equally important functions for your body and brain. Now let's talk about the dangers of sleep deprivation. David Dinges at University of Pennsylvania ran a 14-day study with 4 groups. One group stayed awake for 72 hours straight, one got 4 hours of sleep per night, one got 6 hours, and the lucky group got 8 hours. The results were shocking. After just 6 nights, the 4-hour group performed as badly as if they'd been awake for 24 hours straight. Even more surprising, The 6-hour group, after 10 days, showed the same impairment as someone who'd been awake for 24 hours. Worst of all, sleep-deprived people don't realize how impaired they are. It's like how you stop noticing a bad smell after being in it for a while. Your body adapts to the poor performance. Driving on just 4 hours of sleep is as dangerous as drunk driving. 6 times more likely to crash. Add alcohol to that, your crash risk jumps to 30 times normal. And here's a myth I need to bust. Only about 0.0001% of people have the gene that lets them function on 4 hours of sleep. That's rarer than getting struck by lightning. Also, you can't catch up on lost sleep. Even 3 nights of good sleep won't fully repair the damage from sleep deprivation. If you absolutely must stay up late, here's a pro tip from the FAA. Take a preventative nap early in the night, rather than waiting until you're exhausted. This is what pilots do to stay sharp during long flights. Now for the most important part, how to actually sleep well in our crazy modern world. The real problem isn't just caffeine or screens. It's that we spend our days doing all these self-improvement activities, then turn to our phones at night for quick dopamine hits, only to feel empty when we finally put them down. Here's what works for me. About an hour before bed, I put on wireless headphones. Any cheap pair will do, no need for fancy ones. And listen to something calming, maybe an audiobook. I'm currently listening to The 3-Body Problem, a meditation guide, or some ASMR. I set it to turn off automatically after 20 minutes, then I go lie down and tell myself I'm safe, I'm comfortable, today was enough. Usually I'm asleep within 20 minutes. Quick checklist for better sleep. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. Only use your bed for sleep, no work. And if you can't sleep after 20 minutes, get up until you feel tired again. And if anyone tells you sleep less, hustle more, just send them this video. Remember, sleep isn't optional maintenance, it's life support. Next time I'll be sharing some wild stories about, well, let's just say they involve poop, execution methods, and medical history. We'll also eventually dive into Luzin's works. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe. Now seriously, go to bed.